Greetings, shining bulls and shining bears, and welcome to this, the 20th episode of the Crypto Astrology Podcast. We are going to take a look at what this week holds for Bitcoin and Ether price. But first, please always feel welcome to check out the Shining Bull website, where I have all kinds of offerings for all suns, especially a trading signal service for day traders, a weekly forecast for both swing and day traders, predictive books, and book bundle deals. I especially recommend my Bitcoin by 2026 and Ethereum by 2026 books, as this is probably an important time to understand what the coming years will bring for both Bitcoin and Ether, and these books are valuable. In any case, if nothing is within your price range, then simply follow me on Twitter and make sure to get notifications for this podcast, as I'm giving out a lot of free info out on both of these. Now, let's take a look at this week in Bitcoin and Ether price. Although I, the astrologer, live in Newfoundland, I am giving the weekly predictions that I make on this podcast as per UTC time. And just to give some context about the week as a whole, generally speaking, although there will be days with strong green candles, the real catalyst for an upward trend that takes us through the first week of October will only start on Friday. Until then, the daily chart will show a generally sideways trend with some upward breakouts, just how we have seen since Sun first entered Virgo in the middle of this month of September. The days this week that are most likely to show up as strong green candles on the daily chart are Monday UTC, Tuesday UTC, Friday and Saturday UTC. So let's get started with the daily predictions. For Sunday UTC, early morning Sunday UTC, the moon's exit from its trine to Jupiter starts generating red candles. But in the early afternoon, the moon's entrance into Capricorn flips the candles to green. In the late evening, the moon joining Venus in Aquarius makes further green candles. Monday UTC. Early morning Monday UTC, the moon's exact trine to Sun triggers the beginning of red candles. But by midday, Mercury's exact trine to Jupiter causes a strong shift to green candles. Monday night UTC, the moon entering the Cancer Navamsha keeps making more green candles. Tuesday UTC. Early morning Tuesday UTC, another upward movement begins due to the moon's opposition to Venus and relationship with Mars in the sky. Tuesday night UTC, the moon starts transiting Saturn, making red candles. Wednesday UTC. Early morning, the moon's passing Saturn triggers green candles. However, early afternoon, Sun's entrance into Hasta can suddenly start surprising red candles. And then Wednesday night UTC, when moon joins Sun in the Navamsha, this reverses price movement and should start sending prices upwards. Next, Thursday UTC. Shortly after midnight on Wednesday UTC, so right at the beginning of Thursday UTC, moon's opposition to Mercury creates an uneasiness that will give rise to red candles as I see it. But some hours later, still before dawn UTC on Thursday, and continuing through to midday, green candles begin again when moon hits exact opposition to Mercury. The afternoon is mixed, but late evening UTC on Thursday, I see a drop when moon enters into Leo in the Navamsha of Uttara Bhadrapada. Friday UTC. Shortly after midnight on Thursday UTC, so at the very beginning of Friday UTC, when moon enters Virgo in the Navamsha, a serious drop for Bitcoin can begin, while Ether price should be much more resilient here, possibly even heading up. From early morning onwards, when moon enters Libra in the Navamsha, prior to the full moon, however, prices turn green and stay that way for the rest of the day. This is when a general uptrend starts that will take us through the first week of October. Saturday, UTC. Early morning Saturday UTC, a strange upward movement begins when Moon enters Aquarius in the Navamsha, where Saturn retrogrades in the sky. This up move is likely to become more passionate mid-morning and midday due to Moon's transit in relation to both Mars and Venus, and can show up powerfully as a large green candle on the daily chart. By mid-afternoon, however, an important drop begins. Late night, when Moon enters Saturn's third drishti, another upward movement resumes, changing the 2-hour chart back to green and setting the stage for the week to come. So that was the weekly forecast for the week ahead in Bitcoin and Ether price. For intraday traders, my signal service is best, and my weekly forecast is also key for day traders and swing traders. That gives much more than what I give here. It gives exact timestamps and also price points. Okay. It gives quite a lot of information. That's quite good. Anyway, meanwhile, my books give the larger market context, which is also important for day traders to understand, and of course, swing traders. Now, and lastly, now is likely a great time to get my Bitcoin by 2026 and Ethereum by 2026 books if you don't already have them. And up on the website now already is the audit of last week's weekly forecast. So now let's talk about some news items from this past week. Again, although I, the astrologer, am physically located in Newfoundland, I am referencing UTC time as opposed to my time zone here. This week, I want to revisit some key developments on news related to stablecoins regulations and how they relate to my previous predictions and what they show about the near future. When Elizabeth Warren's Anti-Crypto National Defense Authorization Act was passed by the U.S. Senate as a bill, the bill was passed by the Senate on July 27th, Venus retrograded past Mercury in Leo while both were trining Rahu. In episode 13 of this podcast and on an article on the Shining Bull website, I had predicted new developments regarding this bill on August 13th as Venus retrograded past the Sun near the end of Cancer. And I also predicted near-term severe kind of acts by politicians like Warren against stablecoins. Now, although I am not aware of any news released on that specific bill on August 13th, a few days after my podcast on August 8th, the Federal Reserve released guidelines for dollar tokens and stablecoins, stating that any state bank wishing to engage with these must first establish that they've implemented necessary safeguards. And just a day earlier to that, Venus retrograded from Leo into Cancer, where he would pass the Sun 1 week later. Now, Elizabeth Warren's National Defense Authorization Act contains an amendment concerning crypto called the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act. And on September 15th, as Sun was about to enter into Virgo, Warren made a press release on her website announcing new support of her bill, saying that she now has 9 more co-sponsors of her bill. Now, I predict that on Monday, October 9th or Tuesday, October 10th, when Venus transits in that same zone in Leo where he transited when the Senate passed Warren's bill at the end of July, there can be further news which affects our industry detrimentally. Since stablecoins such as USDT and USDC use the Ethereum blockchain, and since at this moment Venus is transiting in Ethereum's natal Venus while opposing Saturn in the sky, I see that this news can also detrimentally affect Ether price. Furthermore, I would like to say that looking at the influence of Rahu and at the positions of Sun and Venus during the evolution of Warren's bill, as an astrologer, I see that the intentions behind this bill are basically crooked. There is also a high likelihood of mainstream media manipulation being utilized to influence especially the public's view on Tether. I say this because on September 21st, when the Washington Post published a piece about how Tether has re-begun lending of USDT, Moon transited in Kendra to Mercury, who was transiting exactly where Mars transited when the Senate passed Warren's bill on July 27th. Mercury represents the media, and that place in the sky in the sign of Leo is what caused politicians such as Warren to act in such an aggressive way against the crypto industry. However, as you will see if you read my book, Bitcoin Countries, I see that on the longer term, Tether and USDT specifically, so specifically Tether, and who issues USDT, will be immensely powerful. Nonetheless, I will reiterate that Warren's bill is no joke, and that as an astrologer, I see that she and the other proponents of her bill seek to actively take down our industry. And again, I'll reiterate that on the near term, like as I mentioned, I see the first week of October that we're going up. But then, as I mentioned just here, the 9th and 10th, I see a down move start. And while, as I've mentioned many times, we're already up, we're already in the beginning phase of the bull market, you can check my pinned video on this channel about how financial astrology works about that. But this bill is really actively has bad intentions, like a malintention. Its intentions is not actually really what they say it is, and so I see that the industry will have to fight this quite strongly, and I see that, as I mentioned, on the near term, it's going to cause a lot of troubles regarding stable coins, or troubling kind of news, troubling feelings about stable coins, about USD pegged stable coins. So that's the near term, as I mentioned, and as you'll read in my Bitcoin Countries book. On the longer term, Tether is going to be immensely powerful as I see it, but that's what I see for this week, and that's what I wanted to talk about this week, and I will see you next week. Thank you.